20.5 coming to you live from the treatment room. Jeremy's not with us, so we want to get in one of his rooms, and we got our trusty pipe here in the room too. So it is a choose your own adventure. Make sure that you read up on the rules, the standards, but it is 40 muscle ups or pull ups if you're scaling into 80 calories on the rower, followed by 120 wall balls. So you don't have to do that. It's not like a chipper style where you have to just work through each piece before you advance to the next. You do get to pick how you want to break this up, and you want to break it up to what's going to fit your ability the best way. So we have some different options up here that Coach Rob's going to talk to you about. But before he gets into that, you have to make the decision based on what is kind of your limiting factor as an athlete before you really get into this. So, Coach Rob.
All right, so I've seen a few people do this today. I've had a couple people text me asking opinions. How do I do this? Should I do it RX? Should I do it scaled? Let's just start with one first person. Always every week, my brother texts me, how should I do this? He went with the scaled option because his muscle ups are in singles for the most part. So he wanted to get a great workout in. And after going over a few different scenarios, he landed on, I can do this unbroken. Boom. He did well. He did it in 9 and change. So that's very rare. If you can do that, if you can pick apart the pull-ups into 2 sets unbroken and the wall balls unbroken the whole time, you should be able to handle that well. Then we get into some breaking it up a little more of the nitty-gritty. 3 rounds, if you can handle large sets on the row and the wall balls and still be able to put out the intended effort in those 3 rounds, awesome. If you're going to take breaks, we want to break it up even further so that what we're going to constantly say is keep moving. Then 4 rounds. There's a couple different options with 4 rounds, and I'm playing around with what I'm going to do myself with this. And as long as you're moving well, stay with it. So if I even start with 10, 20, 30 on the first round and then know this may be a better option going forward for the 3 rounds going forward, that's fine. As long as I can hang on to those muscle ups, the other 2 are no problem for me. I have no issues with going for bigger sets on wall ball, so 30 is definitely a doable set. For those of us that need to break it up more, going for 30 unbroken wall balls or staying on the rower for over a minute, we may want to break it up even further to 8 rounds. That being said, these are only a couple options. Kyle's going to do another option that is going to keep him moving and allow him to get to the rings often, but hit those smaller sets so that he has only hitting sets and not having opportunities to fail as he's fatiguing.
Yeah, so that's going to come into play with what we talked about at the beginning, what's your limiting factor, and then the second question here is how many pull-ups or muscle-ups can I do in a max effort set? So just myself personally, and it can really, if it comes into play with muscle-ups and pull-ups. So if myself is around 6 to 7 muscle-ups if I were to do a fresh max effort set. So I don't want to be more than like 30% every time I'm on the ring. So I'm going to try to do just 2s every time I get to the rings. So it would be like 2 muscle-ups, 10 wall balls, 10 calories on the rower, and then just fall into a pattern of that obviously ends up equating to the numbers that I got to get to. So that's going to allow me to stay consistent across the time domain that I need to finish hopefully all the reps, rather than just kind of starting with a max effort set and then I just don't know where I'm at because I'm not going to be able to keep that, as Nikki's in the background.
So Kyle made a very good point with how he's going to do this. Around 40%, which is something that he made a very good point, is that's how we trained our strict handstand push-ups for the last 6-8 months. Yeah. And it's a very good indication of how you can maintain in those smaller sets, especially when you have 2 other movements that you're working in with. So it's not necessarily hitting that, going to one movement and going right back to it. So you have some leeway with that, and in that 30-40%, you should know yourself as far as the pull-ups or muscle-ups go. It can be very similar to how we did the strict handstand push-ups in that sense. So that's a good indication if you look back on how you did with those. But the other thing is we are not going to stop saying keep moving, because any rest in that, say, wall balls, you drop the ball, any rest there before picking up the ball is an opportunity for more reps on another movement. So you can hop on the row and go for 10, 15 calories and then go back to the wall balls, because it is going to save you a little bit and you're just going to accumulate those reps. One more thing with the row. Do we have to reset the monitor every time we
Yes,
get off it?
we do. But your judge can help you with that.
Yes, judge can reset, but as long as your hands are on the handle, the calories are rolling, you're fine. All right. Otherwise, you get off the rower, it must be reset until the next time you sit down.
Yeah.
So, we are a few hours away from game time. We have Friday Night Lights tonight, so see you then. Have fun.